Here, hello, everybody. Welcome to You Do You Unfiltered with me, Adonica Albert. And I'm sitting here with beautiful DeDee, and it's just Cal, right? DeDee Cal. Is that how
DeDee
you,
Cai, yes.
DeDee Cai, which is we were just talking about her name, and I thought it was a nickname, but it's not. And I love your name. I love that name because everybody, I think I'm just going to go with it just for a minute, that when you have a name like Adonica or your name, people are always going, ah, that girl with that name. And they always
Mhm.
think about that, right? They always come back and say, is that your name? Do you have a nickname?
Yes.
I get that all
Well,
the time.
yeah,
I get
exactly.
that all
Well,
the time.
I have to agree. I get that all the time. And it's interesting because it's so short and sweet. I have people calling me my first and last name often. Like
Oh,
it's weird. I have some coworkers in the previous job that I had.
yeah.
It would say my whole name. Hi, DeDee Cai. Like it, like she's like it rolls. So I'm like, okay.
You
And
know
yeah,
what? My last name's Albert, and sometimes people call me Albert. I'm like, seriously? Like, really? Do I look like an Albert? But it's crazy. But names are good. I love funky names, and does it mean anything special? Do you know your name?
um, oh, he just it was given to me by my eighth grade chemistry teacher.
Yes.
And one day he just looked at me and he said, you look like you can be a DeDee. I was like, okay, yeah, I like that. Yeah. So then that's when, it was adopted and I just took on that name since.
Kept it, and it's spelled actually. Because when I was looking at the spelling, I was thinking, is it said differently because there's only one E at the front and two E's at the back? And I thought that's unique too, as well, just like yourself.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, just like yourself. So we're going to get into your story because it's interesting because I was reading through this, and you're the founder and performance coach of Fit to Profit. Can you
Yes.
tell everyone what that is?
Yes, absolutely. Well, first and foremost, thank you so much, Adonica, for
Oh, you're
having
very
me. I am so honored and delighted to be here. I'm really excited. And thank you for putting on this show and creating this space for us to have this conversation. I think it's lovely. And
Thank you.
yeah, on behalf of everyone who's going to be listening in, thank you, thank you, thank you, for sure.
Oh, I think everyone is. I'm just going to put it out there.
And then, secondly, yeah, so Fit to Profit was created honestly as an evolution of my own personal journey. As a first generation immigrant, I have a playbook, right, for me to follow, where you go to school, you do really well, and then you get a job and you're going to be happy. And
Right.
that's your story, right?
Yes.
And so that's what I did. And interestingly, of course, I have my own way of doing that. A couple things interestingly happened. And one of the biggest things was that I honestly, not too many people know about this, but since this is like, we're going real right here.
Unreal, authentic.
Yeah. And I was literally talking to another podcast host just earlier, and this detail was never shared or like rarely shared, is that, as much as I was following the plan, I was always that kid that was like, how can we do this faster? How can we fast forward and get done with what we need to do, right? Like, can we be over there already, right? And so I had really completed all of my high school credits to graduate by the time I hit senior year.
Oh,
And halfway through, I was just taking like random classes and there was like vocational stuff, like I can go support someone and volunteer. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna finish school. And interestingly, on paper, I was going to turn 18 before I actually would graduate.
okay.
So, because I want to fast forward everything, right? And so I was like, I'm just gonna go to college.
Oh,
But most colleges need a high school diploma.
yeah.
And I was like, what about a junior college? And of course I looked it up and they said they were willing to accept me for being 18. So I was
Wow.
like, I'm gonna go do that. So I just basically, I don't know, maybe they call it dropped out. I'm
Yeah.
sure the other friend the other day when I was telling this story, he was like, they probably still have your, certificate or whatever diploma. And I was like, I don't need it now, right? But I just took off and enrolled myself in a junior college and started college, before I was done with high school, and then put myself through there, and then graduate, transfer to a university, and finish there. So yeah, and I did that exactly what my parents wanted me to do, and then I
Yeah.
landed my first job in a corporate office. It was really nice. It was a great job. Of course, it was an entry level. I just graduated from college,
Right.
but to be honest, I was like, I looked around,
Yeah.
and it was four corners. It was
Yeah.
a cubicle. I
Yeah.
was sitting, I found myself sitting in a cubicle. There was no one around. And I was like, this have got to be they have got to be kidding me, right? Like this is not what I envisioned. Like, I mean, I guess in my mind, I was like a big office. And I
Yeah.
learned very quickly that you've got to be some like a CEO, somebody to
Yeah.
have a real big like office. But I was like, okay. But still, I don't want to be sitting in one place. I want to do the same thing every day. So anyways, that was short-lived. Goodness.
I just can't imagine cubicle, four walls, nobody to talk to, can't see anybody. It's just like the movies, right?
Yes. And
Kind
so I
of.
was like, yeah, that was short-lived. I think that was like a little bit like over 5, almost 6 months.
Can I
And
ask
then
you a question? What did you graduate with? Like you go to junior college and you graduated, and you went to university and graduated. So what it was the degree that you got?
so the degree I got is and was psychology.
Oh,
Psychology. Yeah. So
okay.
of course it was like me trying to figure things out too throughout my college years,
Yeah.
etc. Things like
Yes.
that. And I ended up falling in love with psychology, especially which led to, cognitive psychology, abnormal psychology, and then there I was,
Right.
specialized in psychology. Yeah. And I had also when I discovered that towards the end of my first for my college, I wanted to actually go to graduate school and or medical school to become a therapist. That
Yes.
was my
That
like
was your
initial.
plan.
Yeah, that was my
I'll have
plan.
a plan.
So yeah, I found myself realizing no, corporate is not for me. I don't think this is going to last very long. And so yeah, I stepped away from that. Right around the same time, my mom had an opportunity. She wanted to change industry. She was owning salons at the time, which I was helping on the back end. And she wanted to start her business, which is her ultimate dream, to open a restaurant.
Oh,
So I was like, oh, okay, maybe working for myself is the American dream. Like, why not? So I was like, yes, let's do it. I jumped into it and had, of course, obviously no business experience whatsoever. Not
right.
only that, for that, I actually resisted having to do anything with money. I was just like, no, I'm going to help and heal people, and I want like a noble job. I don't want anything to do with business because it has to do with money. I'm just not going there. And so I just kind of fell into that. But it was the one of the best experiences and one of the best teachings for my life
Mhm. Yeah.
when it comes to building a business.
Yes.
Um, 3.5 years in, I mean, the restaurant was profitable already. Like the first 12 months, like we were that
Yeah.
hole in the wall that everyone knew.
Yeah.
Everyone that was walking in through that door or calls on the phone, I can only hear their voice and I knew exactly what they wanted to order.
Right.
Everyone knew us. And I really, really loved the community aspect of it and
Yeah.
just really, learning everything, from scratch and really feeling
Mhm.
confident that, oh my gosh, I can do this thing, right?
Yep. Are you a good
And
cook?
yes, yes, I can
Right?
be a really good cook if I choose to.
Yeah,
It's not my
absolutely.
thing. Like you can, no,
Never mind
yeah.
then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. No, I can do it. Do I love it? My zone of genius? Absolutely not.
you're like
Like,
me. I love it. I love cooking. I hate doing it.
yeah,
I
yeah,
love baking. I love baking. Like
I
I love
do too.
making cookies and breads but I hate meal planning. I guess that's
Yeah,
the thing. Yeah. But
yeah.
restaurant business is hard work. I'm gonna say that's tough
Oh
work.
my gosh, yes. And that's why, 75% in the people in the restaurant industry
Yeah, no.
failed like
Yeah,
the first 2 years for that
yeah,
reason, right?
absolutely.
Yes. And so, yeah, everything was great. And then it was one summer I was dating my boyfriend, my husband now. We were in Venice, Italy. It was the most beautiful and romantic place
Yeah.
in the world, obviously. It
Mhm.
was kind of gray and it was sprinkling outside. It started raining before we got to the cafe. So we literally had to walk around looking for an umbrella, which we spent 65 euros on. To this day, we still talk about the most expensive umbrella that we
Oh,
ever uh,
exactly.
it was part of the scene, I guess. And so it
Yeah.
was romantic. And yeah, I have to say it was one of the best trips that I've ever been on when it comes to traveling because we were kind of like country hopping and city hopping. And then I found myself in a cafe with him. I got my favorite ever cappuccino. The pastry came, and then he was trying so hard to have a conversation with me, but all I was sitting there was I was fidgeting, I was looking around. I was just really anxious and I didn't understand why. And then finally I looked down at my phone And it dawned on me that I actually was sitting and waiting this whole entire time while I was on vacation, that someone was going to call me from the restaurant, that something
Oh,
happened.
right.
I was
Yes,
waiting
absolutely.
for a shoe to drop or a fire to put out.
Yeah, right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That was the moment I looked at him. I didn't say anything. That's when I realized I was actually living an American nightmare.
Yeah. When that
Like,
preoccupies this beautiful space that you're in with your then now husband, and all of a sudden you're staring at your phone, waiting
I
for
was,
that terrible call.
yes, I was like, wow, once
Wow.
again, right? Like once again, I'm in this position where I'm like, this is unreal. Like this is not happening. Like,
Yeah.
right? Like I'm for
Not even a
second.
vacation, I guess. It's not
Yes.
even like a vacation. Really?
Yes. So I was physically there, but I was definitely not emotionally
Right.
nor mentally there, right?
Yeah.
So that was the true moment. Of course, I came back. I had to gather myself for a couple months because I'm the only child. I was the golden child. I did everything right. My parents had certain expectations of me. That's why she asked me to be her business partner. I had to get myself ready for like a couple of
The
months before I
conversation.
have the conversation
Yeah. Yeah.
with my mom. And I remember that day, I had planned it to be at the end of work, things like
Yeah.
that. And I could tell right before I was about to have a conversation with her, I felt like I was like tongue tied. I was like, my hands were sweaty.
Yeah.
I felt like I didn't have the words. But
Yeah.
the first thing I said to her when I got like the guts to do it, I
Yeah.
told her, I was like, do you like this, mom?
Yeah.
Like, you like working this restaurant? And
Yeah.
she's like, why? Why are you asking? And of course, by this time we were already really stressed out. Like it was like we had a lot of turnover. It was really long hours. I was working 18-hour days, etc. And she was,
Yeah.
it was grueling for her as well. And she's like, huh, I don't know if I like it, but it was worth a try.
It's
So then I was like, yes. And I told her, I was like,
oh.
I don't think it's for me.
Hmm.
And I think I'm better. I said, I don't think I'm meant to do this. And by then she knows, right? Like I prefer to never go into a grocery store, right? And this is what I had to do on a
Right.
freaking like weekly basis, sometimes twice a week,
Oh,
right? Like
I get that.
with big
Yes.
pushy carts of getting all the inventory. I was just
Going to
like,
Costco.
yes, it was
You're so
restaurant
lucky.
usual.
Yeah.
And like, wow, how did I do it? But finally, she was like, I know you don't like it. I know you're decent at it, but you don't like it. This is not, I agree, this is not your line of work.
Oh.
And I was like, yeah, I don't think it's a fit for me. What do you think? Should we sell the restaurant? I don't think we should sign the lease. She's like, yeah, no, I wanted this for you. But
Mhm.
she's like, but I also see that it's not a fit for you either. And so, yeah, absolutely, let's not. So,
So that must have been a huge whoosh.
yeah.
It must have been, oh my God, I can just breathe now.
Yes, it was such,
Such
it
a
was
hard,
such a relief.
it's a
Yeah, it
hard
was such a relief.
conversation, especially with daughters to moms, right? It's a conversation that's really tough because you don't want to upset and
Yeah.
like it's just I have those conversations with my mom and I feel like you're like I'm going to be 60 next year and I feel like I'm still that 8-year-old kid, 12-year-old kid that's like darn my
Yes,
mother.
right?
Still sometimes.
Absolutely. It's,
But
yeah,
it
it's
must have just felt so great that your mother just said, it's not for you. And I understand.
And yeah, and Donica, it was also for the first time, to be honest, I felt like she actually unconditionally loves me.
Nice. Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
did everything she wanted me to do. She wanted me to go to school, she wanted me to get a job, she wanted me to start
Yeah.
a business, right? Because
Yeah.
I wanted to be loved by her. And like it was more like conditional, right? In my mind, I thought, but
Yeah.
that was the proof right there. And then when she's like, yeah, if you're not happy, no, like that's not what I wanted for you. And so it was the hardest thing I had to do when it comes to like handling a conversation. I did it and I felt like she's so supportive and she has retired since, I mean, she lives with us now and
Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah.
We have a good relationship.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was like the end of my brick and mortar space. And I was like, no, this is not my vision of American dream. It's more
Right.
like an American nightmare. So we're not doing
Yeah.
it.
Exactly. I'm on. I'm on to the next thing.
Yeah, on to the next thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was May 2013. And mind you, we spent our life savings on opening that restaurant, right?
Right.
Not only that, towards the end, because I was already burnt out and like everything was getting really hard. And of course, I had to, take out personal loans just to keep it
Yeah.
afloat and all of the
I mean,
things.
we had
So we
school
sold the
and
restaurant, yeah, at loss and with personal debt. I had personal debt. Like I borrowed money from both of my, my best friend and my other good friend. And to be honest, like I really had to consider it because um, I'm walking away with debt that I didn't know if I was going to be able to pay off, right?
right.
And
Yeah.
it was a really hard, it was a relief that my mom has agreed to, but it was really hard from a financial side of things.
Yeah.
But we made a decision and we're like, let's get out and move on. Okay,
Yeah.
so yep. So that's that. And then, yeah, May 2013 was Mother's Day. I was
Oh,
like,
I was gonna
congratulations.
say, isn't that
Yeah. I was like, go celebrate, Mother's
yeah.
Day. You go do whatever you want to do. You don't have
Yeah.
to be at this restaurant
Yeah.
anymore. It was a huge celebration. And then, of course, my husband, fiance at the time, proposed about 4 months before that in February, and we were getting married in July. So we have
Oh,
a
that's
couple.
fast.
Yeah, so no, we were together 6 years.
Oh, 6 years.
But
Okay, gotcha.
in
Yeah.
2013, he
Okay.
proposed in February. By
Okay.
May, we were 2 months away from our wedding date, which is July
Okay.
7th. Yeah,
Nice.
so that was the best time, of my life. I was really just focusing on the wedding planning,
Yeah.
all of the different
Fun stuff.
details. Yeah, we were
I know.
actually dating and we were
Yeah.
going on dates. We were, just figuring out and daydreaming about what our lives are going to look like and being married and all of the things. Yeah. And yeah, so everything was going along as
Mhm.
planned.
Mhm.
And yeah, life has funny ways to throw lemons at you.
Yeah. No,
It
trust me, I
was, I
know.
remember, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember it was a week before our wedding. It was Monday when I received a call from my best friend's boyfriend, casually asking, "Hey, have you seen Tatiana? I haven't seen her since, the morning
Mhm.
because I dropped her off at school. She was supposed to go off to teach, but I haven't heard from her. Have you heard from her?" I'm like, "No, I saw her
Yeah.
last night. She said she was on her way to go see you, so I haven't seen her since." And he's like, "Okay, that's fine. Yeah, let me know if you hear from her. Let me know." I said, "Okay, sounds good." And then, believe it or not, 2 days later, it
Mm.
was around the same time that she was supposed to be at school teaching, and my phone rang for whatever it was. I don't know why, but I felt like the world was gonna end.
Yeah.
Like when the phone was ringing, I remember looking at the phone, and my heart is pounding now. Like I'm thinking back to that moment, and it was just
Yeah.
pounding and pounding and pounding. And then I picked up the phone and said hello, and her boyfriend Mickey
Uh-huh.
said, sobbing on the phone, crying loudly. I've never seen him like that.
Mm.
He said, they found her.
Oh no. Wow. And where? What happened? You're gonna have to tell me.
So she committed suicide,
Oh,
obviously.
Jesus. Yes.
Yeah. She shot herself in the head point blank in her car.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
And young.
And yes, young. She was, I believe, 25.
Wow.
I was only a few years older than her.
Okay.
But that was literally a week before our wedding.
Oh, gee. And she's in the wedding party, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was supposed to be in a wedding party.
Oh, jeez. Oh, it breaks my heart.
Yes. So we went through all of the planning. We buried her July 4th,
Hmm.
and My wedding was July 7th.
Oh my goodness. How did you cope? Like
Yeah.
how how did you do that? Because you're one strong lady to do that.
Yeah. And so I honestly, in reflection, I just went with what I needed to do and when I needed to do it, right? Like,
Yeah.
and I got myself, that's when I learned to be so present and so in
Mhm.
the moment,
Yeah.
because I can't be thinking about the wedding when I'm trying to plan. Literally, I was the one that was taking her parents to the funeral home,
Yeah. Okay.
going through the details with them,
Okay.
even to the point where they're like, we cannot do open casket
Right.
because of the accident.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just truly learned how to be present, how just to be with the emotion, just really embrace it,
Embrace it.
right? And
Yeah.
then how to be there for, for someone else going
Right.
through such, an experience. And then
Mhm.
of course, fast forward to a few days later, it was the happiest day of my life, right?
Right.
It was talking about dichotomy of life, right? Life
Yeah.
and death, like all
Yeah.
in one, like it's
In a
so
week.
in
Yeah.
a matter of a week.
Yeah.
But, after the celebration, after the wedding, I had time to really come down. And what I realized, well, first and foremost, I vowed to myself that no one ever should go through what I went through,
Right.
first and foremost. Like
Mhm.
whatever I need to do within my power, for the rest of my time, I'm going to do whatever I can to prevent that from happening.
Right.
And secondly, for the first time, I got real with myself and realized that I actually was also suffering in silence with depression and anxiety.
Okay. So
That's
when
what,
you sat in silence, that's it's really hard to admit to that, right?
yeah. But
Wow.
it's like,
Especially in
it's
that in
okay,
that
right?
week span. Like how, like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And so I just really channeled, my grief to something more positive. And I was
Mhm.
like, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's business, but it has to do with helping people,
Yes.
right? Heal
Mhm.
themselves. Like, how can I teach them just to feel more confident so that way they never ever have to thought about that, like think
Yeah.
about that and
Yes.
such thing, right?
Yes.
Because it's so painful,
Yeah.
themselves obviously, but also for the rest of us, right? Like the survivors, grief was so real, right?
Great.
So I was like, I have a responsibility now to have experienced what I did and
Mhm.
to prevent that from ever happening to anybody.
Wow.
And so, but I was like, how are you going to do that? You're broken, right? Like I was
Yeah.
like, you feel broken inside, all of these things. And I was like, well, maybe the first step is for me to heal myself.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that's exactly what I did. I just took the next step that I knew how. I started taking care of myself. I
Mhm.
started exercising, which
Mhm.
led me into long distance running, which led me into practicing yoga because I need the deeper stretching to go the distance. And then, which led me into holistic health coaching. And I got certified to be a holistic coach. And there and then is how I discovered coaching in the first place. I was like, wait a minute, this is like therapy. This is like being a therapist, but
Yeah.
even better, where I
Yeah.
don't have to write prescriptions and I don't have to worry about all the tuition and also all the years of schooling. I was like, this is it,
Yeah.
right? In that moment, it was like a full coming full circle for me. And so
Can I ask you how long that took? Like
for the whole
to come full
process,
circle? Yeah, to come full circle.
yeah, so from when I experienced the tragedy until that moment, when I launched my business was 2015, so about 2 years.
Okay. Okay.
So it took me about 2 years to really take care of myself, really start getting more grounded with what I really need
Mm.
to do, and like comes that revelation and just kind of following the path to health
Great.
and wellness.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was 2015 where I was like, okay, that's why I just got certified to be a holistic health coach. But then I was told as a new coach to charge a certain rate that for me was so
Mm.
ridiculous. I was like, just because I'm new, that's why I have to charge this little. I was like,
Okay.
I have so much experience. I just experienced this thing 2 years ago. I can talk about, you know what I mean? I can
Yeah.
tell
Yeah.
people what it feel like to be miserable and what is not to do to, to get
Yeah.
out of that.
Yeah.
I was like, I should charge more, but I just office didn't really feel confident, but I was very confident with how I built the restaurant business.
Right. Yes.
I just didn't listen to my mentor, I guess, which is great. I just went around just pitching like, hey, I'll teach you how to start businesses. How about that?
Yeah.
You want to
Yeah.
do that? Yeah, let's
Yeah.
do it. And so,
Holistically.
yes.
Yeah.
So I landed my first 3 clients within 2 weeks of like just talking.
Wow. Yes.
Yeah. It was, and listen to this, the rate that I was coaching people for was 5 times what the coaches were telling me to charge.
That's crazy.
And I was living in Columbus, Ohio at the time. So listen to this. People at the time in 2015 were only making about 38 to $42,000 locally around
Yep.
that area.
Hmm.
$500 a month is
Right.
almost what they would pay for mortgage.
Right.
But that's what I was charging. And people were coming to me as if like they're going to a doctor's office. Like
Yes.
they were coming to my house for me to coach them,
Nice.
teach them how to start businesses.
Wow.
So that's how I fell into business development and coaching.
That's crazy. That's that. Wow. That's an amazing story about just personal growth because a lot of people wouldn't be able to do that. But now that you're here in our world, you're able to teach that. So do you teach people having a business plan holistic, how to get holistically there instead?
Yes, I
Yeah.
yes. So
And
I love the question.
is that where the fit to profit came from?
Yes, here's the next piece where how fit to profit was created.
Okay, so holistically, you're going to teach. If I came to you and I have a business, you're going to teach me how to do this holistically because I believe that is super, super duper important. And the reason
Yes,
I do that is because we're taking care of ourselves holistically. And when you
yes,
take care of yourself, then your business will grow, things will grow around you. A lot of people don't understand that because they're all about money, 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 money. I got groceries, gas, I got this, and that. And that is that I've never actually heard anyone doing this before, by the way. This is my first time.
beautiful.
This is my first time. So if you're out there listening, we do have holistic business coaches, which I love.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love that. So
right.
if you're out there, this is the girl to see. But
Yeah,
so now that you've done this, then let's get to fit to profit because this is what I'm interested in. Your
yes.
little, yeah.
Yeah. So then I was business coaching after 5 years of doing that. I was coaching client 2015 to about 2020. And interestingly, like around like pandemic and things like that. But I saw a trend as I was coaching my clients. There was always the ups and down, ups and down. And there was a small percentage of entrepreneurs that really was consistent with things.
Yeah.
Uh, and or like most of them actually plateau for a long time. And we always have conversations about resistance and why they're not following the business plan and why they're not doing it. And there's like personal things that came up and things like that. So we dug deeper and I was really forced to ask them a really important question was like, really, truly, forget about the strategy, forget about like what we have to do for the
Mm.
business. What is going on?
Yeah.
Are you doing well? Like, are you doing well? And the truth was the people that were not performing or making money were not taking care of themselves,
Right. Excuse me. Yes.
not taking care of themselves physically,
Right.
emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Therefore, they're not financially fit. So that's how fit to profit was
Yes.
created, right? Holistically from all areas, first physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, then lastly, the last piece. Unless you have the other four in line, financial is not going to happen. It
Exactly.
will always be a struggle, right? Like,
Absolutely. Well, yeah.
eventually,
Seriously, because half it when you read the statistics about health and wellness, about people who are having, I know businessmen who've made tons of cash dropping dead of heart attacks at a young age, even entrepreneurs, and or the mental part of it. And this is so super important for people out there in the business world to know that you need to have everything else in place before the financial comes. And that's what you do, by the way.
100%.
No,
And
yeah.
that's why after the conversation I had, I was like, it came really clear to me. Yes, I can teach strategy and how to market and how to package all of the things, but I cannot neglect the most important side of things, which is at least 80%,
Yes,
is mindset and how to take care
absolutely.
of them on a really holistic level, like I said.
Absolutely. And everything else, but you just said is all material. So when you
Mhm.
dig deep and peel away the onion, you get to the center of the problem. And then that way they can come out if they have a big company and share, because I totally believe in that. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because even in regular life, you gotta have all that before you have this over here. You know what I mean? You got to have the spirit. You got to have the mindset. You got to exercise. You got to eat health. You got to do all the holistic part of it in order to be happy. And people
Yeah.
forget that. They
Yes,
forget that.
absolutely. Or really, it's just so hyper focused on like one thing
I mean,
when we are so interconnected and we're so like we have more than one facet of our being, right?
absolutely.
That's that. And then another piece, which is so huge, as I was working mostly, I did work with men entrepreneurs as well, but majority women.
Yeah.
Also, there's another piece that was really interesting, and I even have a mini course talking about this, is like they have such a hard time charging their worth. Meaning like,
Yes. Yes.
remember how I said when they're like only charge $97 a month? I'm like, why? Like I
Yeah.
have so much experience. Like,
Why?
what?
I go to school.
Yeah,
I
I
do
went to
stuff.
school,
Yeah.
I did all of this, and I have all these
Yeah.
experiences. Like, I can create more value than that. And
Absolutely.
but oftentimes, from of course, dissecting and learning more about why do they feel that way,
Mhm.
it because they don't feel worthy.
Right. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. Yes. I've been down
yeah.
that.
For sure. And I feel like every time I increase my rates, I have that next level to work towards, right? Like we always have that next level of feeling more worthy each day, right? There's
Right.
practices that we
Yes.
need to take on a daily basis to grow that. And so that's why if it's a profit, I am now on a mission to help women entrepreneurs feel so worthy, charge what they're worth, and holistically build profitable businesses. So
That
that's
is,
where,
oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. What I'm seeing right now when I'm talking to a lot of people and their stories is that I've had some men, which they're actually the funniest people to interview, but the women that I've seen are these entrepreneurial women that are just in empowering themselves, which I love. So when we look at the youngins coming up, they'll see all these beautiful, empowering women that are making the money that they're worth. But at a holistic level, they're good inside, they're good here before financial. And that's super, super duper important. This is amazing. I hope you put the link. I'm going to put the links for all this in your bio. So people, if people are interested to actually come and register and do your courses, like I'd be so interested to do one and sit down with you. Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
absolutely.
Just
Yes. Like,
because I think this is small baby steps, right? You empower somebody, we're going to power somebody. And I think this is a chain reaction that women are, I'm sorry, but we're going to eventually have a US president that's a female. Look at
yeah,
that,
right? Like
right?
we have a new us women these days, we have a new role to play.
We
But
do.
that means we have to do it in a way that makes sense for each and every one of us, right?
And for
Like we
men, and I believe for men too, because now I think at the same time, men are going, whoa, look at that lady. You know what I mean? So we
Mhm.
have my husband belongs to a big organization. You have it in the States, it's called EO, which is an entrepreneurial organization.
Yes,
One of
I've
the
heard.
yeah, one of the people that's in there is like a lady who owns the little potato factory. Started a little potato factory. It's gone berserk in Edmonton. She's from Short Park and she sells in the States too as well. But when I look at her story seems kind of the same. You have to be in your body, you have to be good before the financial and all the business parts. And I love that beautiful concept. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah. So now I have a quick question. Are you a believer in affirmations? Because I do. I love affirmations.
Absolutely. My
Absolutely.
password to my laptop
Oh,
is I am enough.
I'm enough. Yes, I am. Yes.
Literally, if you could, like, put it everywhere. Get a notebook that
Oh, I
says I
have.
am.
Oh,
Put a
oh,
magnet on your fridge that
watch it.
says I am enough.
That's
Put
where my big face is here.
like use a lipstick and write it on your mirror in the bathroom. Yes.
Yes. I
Any
go ahead.
biggest piece, right? Like this is comes with spirituality and manifestation. The affirmations are important as the practice, but what's really is going to help you manifest quickly
Yeah.
and keeping you more in alignment
Mhm.
is you have to get your feelings in alignment with the affirmation.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the
Absolutely.
work that I'm still working on. There's
Yeah.
always that next level of manifestation. Okay, that takes that 6 months. Okay, now
Yeah.
2 months, like 2 weeks. Okay, can I just call a chair and the chair appears, you know?
Okay, where's the money tree? No, I'm just kidding. Well, no, and I'm a believer in them absolutely because I've done the manifestation to cure my body, actually, to be honest with you. And I was, oh my God, when I first started that journey of doing all the spirituality and all the mindset and all the lovely affirmations, I was handed a book, How to Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. And I was like,
I love Louis Hay. Yes.
ego. I don't need that. What are you talking about? And I just had blew my knee. And I'm like, I don't need that. And then I read it and I was like, wow. So I took her little knee app. I say it every day. Took her little knee affirmation for like she like you remember at the end of the book, she has all these affirmations for body parts. And it was ego, knees are ego. And I said that I bend and flow with these. I am safe, blah blah blah. And sure enough, I got up and started running again. And I have a knee replacement now, but that just happens. But way back in the day, I was like, people don't know the power of that, the power
Absolutely.
of affirmations. And I am is so so important because as women, we self-talk ourselves into shit a lot
Oh
of
my God.
time.
It's all wiring, right? It's all conditioning,
Yeah,
right? It's how we
absolutely.
condition, like we were conditioned, how we condition
Yeah.
ourselves. It's really about, rewiring and really shifting into like a
Mhm.
new set
Yeah.
of beliefs of
And,
what's
and
possible.
breaking our values and beliefs that we grew up with. Because like
Absolutely.
you, because I'm a 60 baby, so you're the mom. I don't understand why you like to be alone. I don't understand why you go on trips, like that my mother would say to me, on trips
Yeah.
with friends. I don't understand. You should be with your kid 24/7, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But in my brain, like I had to do what I needed to do for me. And that's
Yeah.
breaking that value belief system that my mom had. And
Hmm.
that's hard to do for a lot of women because we do look up to our parents. My mom, she's the strongest woman on the planet and in her 80s. And I I love her to death, but I'm not her, right? We're all our individuals, right? Like so
Yeah.
I love that you talk about this because the more women like yourself that are doing this, I believe that this is going to change the world because we are more of a nurturing kind and we're built with emotions. We're built with empathy. We're built with compassion. And I think it's the kindness and the love that women give out, which is unbelievable that we can do that and give it to our kids. I'm not sure if you have kids, my
I
25-year-old.
do. I
Yes.
do. Yes. I have a
He
7 year
does.
old, 5
Yeah,
year old. Yes.
he does affirmations too.
Yes,
Like,
they do it on their way to school in the morning, and we do
yes,
gratitudes at night. That's what we have in a family setting. Yeah.
yeah, that's exactly. He's 25. He'll pull out and he'll say, I it's always I am. And I
Yeah.
know he's in school right now in Granada doing med school for
Yeah.
vets. And
Hmm.
when he left, I said, don't forget to tell you how good you are,
Yeah.
how you feel, how you be. I believe that you're going to change our world with this, with women. I don't know if there's anyone that like you're so unique. So
Oh,
I
thank
love
you.
it. I love it. I think
I
it's
believe
great.
so that yes, like I believe this is my purpose, right? Like
Yeah.
losing my best friend to
Yeah.
this and having experienced it myself and overcoming all of the challenges
Yes.
mentally and emotionally myself. That's not to
Yes.
mention we don't have time here, but I also have experienced traumas in the past that I have to overcome,
Yeah.
with sexual abuse and all of the things.
Yeah.
So, truly
Yeah.
I
You could
believe
have
that
gone.
every one of
You
us
could have.
is the overcomer. Like
Right.
we are so equipped,
Mhm.
right? And capable and created to overcome anything and everything and really truly have it all as long as we're willing to do the work on ourselves
Yeah.
because we are worthy, right? We are
You could
worthy.
have gone down the dark hole, right? You
Yeah.
could have just gone down the dark hole. But I love the fact that you had the strength to do that 2 years of journey and find yourself. And I'm just gonna say you probably cried a lot. You probably
Oh
got
my
angry a lot. Like you're
God.
human.
The
We're human.
crying, to be honest, the crying The crying didn't really, I didn't take up on that practice for a while
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I was raised to, raise hell and not cry, the strong girl and things like that. But the grief was about 2 years. But to be honest, the self-development started
Yeah.
truly at 15.
Yeah.
Remember, I alluded to the story, which I didn't really tell fully because it doesn't directly involve in the building of It's a Profit, but
Yeah.
truly the owning, my voice and really teaching women to do that really stems from my experience of, being sexually abused when I was 15.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So self-development happened right around that time. Was when I was really angry and mad at myself for why I didn't stand up for myself. Why didn't
Yes.
I have my voice, enough to do that? And because why? I didn't feel worthy.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
I didn't feel worthy. And hence, because of that feeling, how I developed depression and anxiety and everything from my teenage years all the way up to my 20s.
Yeah.
But then I was also then in shame and suffering in silence
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
until I
Absolutely.
decided, I'm going to change and transform my life. She died so I can live. So I need to change my life so then I can change other people's lives.
And take all the trauma that you have suffered and let it go in a way, kind of do that whole entire 2 year journey of personal growth. And like, if you're human, you get angry. Yeah. Yeah. But you did it the most beautiful way to
Yeah. And
help women.
forgiveness, so huge. Even honestly, up until like this past year,
Mm.
there was still a little bit of like grief and like anger,
Yeah.
which I noticed it came up through, some work that I was doing still.
Yeah.
And I was, you know what? Forgiveness, 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 right? Like I have to take myself out of the prison because if I'm not forgiving to the person doesn't know. Like I'm living in that prison.
Right.
And so, yeah, it's I say that to say that we each are a working progress.
Yeah.
And
Right.
unless we choose, right, to prioritize ourselves, we can't serve. And
Yeah.
so, ultimately, Fit to Profit is designed through all of my experience through the years with business, holistic health, and all the things
Yeah.
to put into this program. Not only that, there are two other elements that I haven't mentioned yet in the
You,
program.
you
Yes,
can.
we hit all five,
Yeah.
so two elements I haven't seen existed in any other program yet is within those areas, we also specifically get to focus on one biggest, which is so taboo for all of us, is we get to talk about our relationship with money.
Yes.
And we
Yes.
remember I grew up in scarcity.
Yeah.
So I have to learn how to heal my relationship with money and really think that what I have to give is worth value. So that's another piece. And you talked about limiting beliefs, right? We were also wired and raised and conditioned to think a
Yeah.
certain way, and that's not really serving us. And so the what I'm getting trained in is to help you rewire your limiting beliefs and adopt that new set of beliefs of who you truly are
Yeah.
and what you deserve. So
Wow. Well, I look forward. I want a part two. I want to talk again. I want to keep going.
absolutely. Yes. No, I can talk for days about this stuff
I
because
love to, I
I
love
think
to say, I
mm,
love to dive in more so into the Fit to Profit so people, women would know. So let's do a part two on that. And then you can actually, we can just go crazy and let people listen to that because I think that's a really important piece about our beliefs and value systems and rewiring and a relationship with money.
yes. Oh my God.
So, and if you're born in my era, it's it like I went to university. Like, am I using my degree? Absolutely not. But I think that is super, super important because I think when we don't value ourselves, we don't have a relationship with money.
Yeah.
Kind of,
Or
it
it's
kind of,
or it's a terrible relationship with money.
I
Like we're
know, I
so
know.
scared of it, right? We're
Yes.
so scared of it. We're so intimidated by it. We're like, it's terrible. Like I remember how I used to feel like because when I remember one of my very first money experience was when I was 3, I
Oh,
asked for afternoon snack. Remember, this is third world country,
yeah.
Vietnam. I asked my mom for a snack that literally cost pennies, but my mom regrettably told me we don't have any money.
Yeah.
that was my first experience with
Yes.
money.
Yes.
Can you imagine? Like, I still have to do regression work around that, but it's like to a 3-year-old, it's like, oh my gosh, she doesn't love me.
Yeah.
I'm not worthy. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the wiring I had, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
imagine the work that I had to grow up with, and like I'm not good enough because my mom, all that experience has so many layers
Yeah.
to why I didn't feel worthy when I was 15, to why I didn't stand up for myself, to why I just
Great.
endured the
Yeah.
pain,
Yeah.
because that's I was trained to just take on the pain and not like just keep quiet,
Yeah.
right? Just
Yeah.
all of that's how my relationship with money was. And
Yeah.
I have to do the work. That's why I got certified to be a money coach. And now I'm working to be an RTT therapist, which is like we call rapid transformation therapy. It's literally to go in there and just to pull out like your limiting beliefs and replace them like with the good ones. Like, here
Yes,
are the
absolutely. Well, we're gonna have to talk about that because I think that's a really big conversation to have about a relationship with money. Because when I think about myself, and I did not grow up with lots of money either, and I remember the small little conversations we had with my mom and dad. I love my mom and dad did the best they can. There's no book out there to raise
yeah,
children, to rewire your brain. We're learning that as we go through life, and it's kind of a neat thing to talk about. So let's do a part two eventually.
yes,
So
I
tell
would
me
love to.
something. Yeah, let's. Okay, I had something on you. You didn't even answer it. I said, tell me something a little bit quirky about you. Wait, you got there's a blank spot there on the paper. Got anything quirky?
Quirky.
Yeah,
I
what's
don't
quirky?
know, Adonica. That's a good question. Maybe I'll answer in part two, but I'm pretty straightforward.
Are you?
I mean, I'm pretty straightforward. I don't know if there's anything
You got a
quirky.
habit, yeah, a fun habit that you have?
Like, what's considered? I don't even know what's considered to be
Well,
quirky.
see, like for me, like if people look
Yeah.
at me, they're like I can binge watch true crime all day. I can sit in my bed, iPad, and doom scroll binge crime.
Oh my gosh, I'm a self-development junkie. Like, I mean, hit me with this stuff. Like, I can talk about this with my eyes closed. I can talk about this like in my sleep. I can dream about it. I mean, I can binge listen to Abraham Hicks for days and years.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
is that what
You're
you're
like,
looking for?
yeah, absolutely. Because we need to have kind of those people too. And I'm an affirmation junkie too. So a lot of people don't like, yeah, like it's kind of a neat thing. But quirky is kind of like I love when I say that, I get some really fun ones, but I love that you can do Abraham. I haven't listened to Abraham
Oh my
in a
gosh.
long time.
Um,
I have Wayne Dyer on I listen to his books when I walk. So,
yeah.
but throw me a book, I'll listen to it, and yeah, I
Oh my
won't read
gosh,
it.
there's so much. There's so much stuff with her. I've gone through her live broadcast. I'm actually going to see her live in November in Miami. Like, I mean, like,
Oh, yeah,
man,
she's
like when it
amazing.
comes to, it's just her words are so simple,
Yeah,
and it's just so straightforward for me, and it's so applicable for me too. Like, I can be in the worst mood,
yeah,
and I
yes,
listen to literally, like, I mean, literally
yeah.
2 minutes of her talking. I'll be like, I'm gonna feel good. I'm gonna feel good. This is how I'm gonna calibrate back, tune back
I'm
in, tune
gonna
back
go
in,
right back to center here. Thank you very
Yes, very
much.
quick. Yeah, just
Thank you
saying
very
about
much. That's like Wayne Dyer for me because I can listen to him all the time. Like I'm
yes.
just like I put the shift. I've read the shift a bazillion times, and I love that book. And I'll just put it back in when I'm feeling a little off, and I'll just listen to him, and I'm like, okay, I'm good. I'm good. Okay, because we're all human. We're all human. We don't
That
sit in happiness 100% of the time. We're all human. So, and
yeah,
that's what if you can admit to that, we're human, and we have our ups and downs, and we're not where you don't walk on this beautiful cloud every day, but we do have ups and downs because we're human.
yeah, absolutely. And I think it's just like the more practice that we
Mhm.
get to get really good with shifting. That's all. Like, there's
Fuck.
always, right? According to Abraham Hicks, there's always two ends of the stick, right? Like, you
Absolutely,
get over here,
absolutely.
okay, how do you get over here? Like,
Yes.
you're over here, and it's just acknowledging it, and it's just like really shifting every moment of the day, and just allow that to be your life practice.
Wow. Well, that's a great way to end. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on. And we're going to do a part two because I want to talk about the money thing because I like that. And
I
we're going to
love
do a part two. But thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure. And we're going to put all your where everyone can connect with you on Spotify. And I do Spotify and I have a YouTube channel, and we're just flipping over to Apple too as well. So it's kind of fun. And
Yay.
everybody will be able to get a hold of you. But I think you have something very unique and precious that we need to grab onto.
Thank
Absolutely.
you again so much for having me, Danica, and
Oh,
thank you.
you're very welcome, and have a wonderful, since you're East Coast, have a wonderful night. I don't know, afternoon?
Afternoon. Yes,
Okay,
afternoon.
afternoon, and we'll talk soon again.
Yes, thank you so much, Danica.
Oh,
Bye
you're
bye.
very welcome.